Alright, so here you can see just started sanding at this seam, and you can see that here there's a little bit of sand through, but again, that's not a problem. We're just going to come back with some of the gap filling super glue and hit it with that. More light sanding. If we go through it again, then I'll start using spackle on that. You just want to sand that seam. This is 150 grit, 150 grit sandpaper. You just want to work the seam until it's as level as you can get it. And if you can't get it completely flush, you know, once all the blue ink is gone, you should be flush. But if not, that's all right. You just use the filler. You just use your spackle or whatever plastic filler if you want to use that, some kind of a squadron putty or something like that. Some of that stuff, you can do that. Alright. So what you end up with is you're going to be just fine. You know, decent representation of an Army Air Corps pilot circa 1943-44. That's all you need. Alright, I'm just going to keep going over the seam. If we end up with a large gap or buildup, we'll just use I'll just use the spackle paste to fill it. I'll just keep working on this. Oh, and then for the top of it, of dude's head where it's flat there, I'm just going to cut a piece of balsa large enough to cover. You know, something like that. And just sand it down and round it around. Just go ahead and do that. The piece of balsa I'm using here is a little thick. It doesn't have to be this thick, but that's cool. It doesn't matter as long as it's at least what you need, if not greater than what you need there. For this, I'll use a little bit coarser sandpaper since we got a lot of shaping to do. Since I went ahead and used such a giant chunk of wood. Laughably large chunk. Now, I don't want to get onto the plastic with that super coarse sandpaper. Put some deep scratches into the plastic. I won't be able to fill and easily repair. So anyway, there you go. There's our dude's head. Again, like I said, I don't know why they don't just mold it properly, but they don't, and this is what you do. So here we are, doing what we do. Okay, and we'll just make sure we don't remove too much of that as we're sanding around on the seam. I just wanted to show you that real quick too, while we're here. While we're at it. Again, I haven't started any of the main construction. The first thing I'm going to do here after I finish the pilot is lay up the fuselage and get started on that. And the way we'll work is like I typically do. We'll get the fuselage laid up, we'll put the stringers on it, double check the plan and make sure that we're not stringing over anything important. Get the stringers on, as I said, and then begin the infill process, adding whichever plastic details there are, or at some point making a decision on whether to use the plastic or fabricate replacement parts out of sheet balsa or the birch plywood that I use to replace some of the plastic detail. Alright, and then fuselage gets laid up and infilled, and then we'll do the tail assembly. After that is done, we'll lay up the wing and look out for whether or not we're going to be doing retractable landing gear. I'm leaning towards retractable landing gear, operable flaps, open and close positionable flaps, and a sliding canopy as the three details that I want to add, in addition to my scratch built motor. So there you can see there's going to be plenty of work to do over and above just creating the basic airframe with fixed gear up or gear down. I want that landing gear to be posable, flaps posable, and canopy posable. More or less just as a challenge and not because, you know, it matters in any other way. Okay, so I'll finish up on this seam, get some adhesive back on it, see one of the areas I've sanded through, and then the only area I've sanded through right here. Just get some filler onto that, a little more glue and then some filler on that. And then I'll be spackling a little bit around this seam. You can see here it's pretty deep. I don't think I'll be able to sand into that without creating a hole, and I don't want to do that. So, alright, thanks for watching. We'll be back.